Now 4:30, I'm going to call the meeting of the Waxahachie Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Please let the record show that we have 6 trustees in attendance. The Schofield will be joining us at a later time. Also, this meeting has been duly called and notice this meeting is duly posted for time and manner required by law. First item on our agenda would be our board workshop. It's item A, discussion regarding the 2022-2023 budget. Mr. Calden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, board. We're going to continue on our little journey here of budget workshops as we get ready for the next fiscal year. Just a reminder, last time we talked about our tier 1, 2, and 3 priorities and kind of went over those and got your feedback on whether we had those properly categorized and kind of some other comments that were made, generically speaking, about the various priorities within the tiers. As a reminder, these are not ranked within the tier in terms of 1A, 1B, 1C, just items that we've put within the tiers that we think are the most priority of the next priority, and then of the, I hate to say least priority, but of the third tier priority, if we will. So would like to talk about where we are with our tier 1 priorities as we are working through the budget process. So one of our tier 1 priorities was to return the secondary campuses to a 6 of 8 teaching schedule. We believe we can accomplish that readily, easily at the junior high level, but the high school level is not exactly going to be the same ease. It's going to require some additions of positions. So right now, after reviewing it, it looks like about 13.5 positions are going to be needed at the high schools, along with 3 adjunct positions, so that we can return to a 6 of 8 teaching schedule at these campuses. Estimated cost for these positions is about $900,000. That's just kind of the preliminary. That cost could be a little high, a little low, depending on the experience that we get in with these positions, but that's just kind of a ballpark. Here we go. Another priority that we had in tier 1 was to beginning to replenish our fund balance. If you remember, we've been able to do some really good things with our fund balance, but as we grow and as our budget gets bigger, it's vitally important that we put some more money back into fund balance so that we will have a good, healthy fund balance and enable flexibility for years to come. After 2 years of COVID disruptions, we're planning on a more normal, and we're going to air quote normal, because that's our best laid plans here in May, but we're hoping for a more normal school year. We're hoping for enrollment closer to demographic projections and our usual expectations, and then attendance, we're expecting to be back around 95%. The first semester this year, we were about 92.7%, so that definitely not normal. But we know we dealt with a COVID surge in August, and we were about to deal with another one in January. So we're air quoting and crossing our fingers for a more normal, but it's going to be vitally important that we increase our student attendance rate. It's not strictly from a money standpoint. Of course, we're paid ADA-wise, but the days that our students are out is additional learning that's missed. It's additional makeup work in terms of instruction on that teacher. It's really something that we have to reinstill in our families. We've gone for about 3 years now watching that attendance rate not be where it traditionally has been. It's vitally important that we get back to that positive attendance rate, that we have our kids here every day, that they're able to be here, so that learning can happen and we're not falling behind academically. If our ADA exceeds our expectations for next school year, it is my hope that will be a true statement, but that we will take those additional funds generated and put them directly into fund balance so that we can start replenishing our fund balance in a more robust manner. There is a line provision right now in the draft budget. We'll get to that in 20 more slides, but there's a line provision right now to put a little bit of money into fund balance. But my hope and goal is that we've provided enough for the operations of the district, student growth, everything, that any additional students above the ADA expectations would be able to go back into fund balance.
Brian, do you even try to put a contingency number in there?
All right, so veil off, yes. We have some plugs, some contingencies in there. It's not a significant amount. I tell you that out of 107 million, we'll probably plug in 100,000 to 200,000 in various functions. And it's, we are, as we go throughout the course of the year, we're able to recapture some more. So if we have a vacant position that's not filled in a timely manner, that'll give us some budget savings. We may utilize that as well and add that into some of that fill or fluff or contingency. But for the most part, it's pretty streamlined in terms of the budget. There's not a whole lot of extra fluff in there, but there are some pockets that we keep in there.
Looking at this, how did we do with the fifth 6 weeks?
It's a really good question. I can tell you it was not 95%.
Okay.
I can tell you that it was not 92.7% either. I want to tell you we were about 93, 94, maybe 94.5%. But honestly, I haven't looked at them real recently. I know Mr. Avenshine sent out an email today about attendance rates, and I believe the average was about 94.6, 94.7.
I was going to say, that was our most recent. Lee sent that out earlier, 94.7. And, you know, all of our campuses have been working hard on that and really trying to emphasize it. But to what Mr. Calden had said, and we've got some different working theories on that. I think a lot of it has to do with you have more families at home, more like people working from home. And so if little Missy's not feeling good today, then it's easier for her to say, well, baby, just, you know, go get back in bed, and because I'm here all day. And that's part of it. I think that was Ms. Mott's theory, and I think there may be something to that for sure. And then people got into a habit of just, if I'm not feeling perfectly, that we're just not fighting through it, which is what most of us were told by our moms and dads, that you just suck it up, go, you know.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so TEA did come through with a hold harmless for this year. Now, it is not the same hold harmless as it has been for the last 2 years. The last 2 years, generically speaking, were whatever your expected enrollment was, that's kind of what we'll fund you off of. This year, there was no consideration for expected enrollment, but it was an attendance hold harmless. So I told you that in the fall, we looked at about 92.7%. Generically speaking, we were about 95 to 95.5% in our attendance rate. So TEA did say that they would go back and take our enrollment count as of snapshot day, which was the last Friday in October. And for that enrollment sec, for those number of students, they would give us our historic attendance rate from the 1920 school year, which was 95.7%. And they would say, okay, if your ADA, if your attendance is less than that for the fall, for the first 4-6 weeks, we will guarantee you that much, but you're on your own for the 5th 6 weeks and the 6th 6 weeks. And so that's kind of where the real kick and initiative has been for this attendance drive, is it's not going to make a real hill of beans difference in the spring semester, but we got to start planting that seed that attendance is really important. We got to get back to 95, 96% attendance. So it's not to minimize the 5th and 6th 6 weeks. It's important that we get our kids here. It's important that we start getting closer to that 95.5% attendance. But in the grand scheme of things, with that hold harmless already in there, we're not going to be moving the needle a whole lot in just the 5th and 6th 6 weeks. Even if we had 100% attendance in the 5th 6 weeks and 6th 6 weeks, we're not going to hit 97% for the year. So it will make a difference, especially if it is below 95.7% attendance, but it's not going to be earth-shattering, budget-destroying as it would have been at 92.3% as our attendance rate was in the fall. This hold harmless for the first 4-6 weeks is going to increase our ADA by approximately 273 students, and it should reduce a projected revenue shortfall by about $2 million. In other words, it should provide about $2 million in relief from the state for our low attendance rate for the first 4-6 weeks.
One of the things, Ryan and I went last week to Region 10 for an annual finance update that they have. One of the things that I thought it was really interesting, Texas is one of 4 states in the United States that still does funding by attendance. Most states have transitioned to an enrollment model, which, you know, obviously that'd be a lot more stable for us if we had, you know, if we could just count on, hey, this is our enrollment and that's how we're going to be funded. But the worry is they think that districts won't pay attention to attendance if it's just based on enrollment. We would regardless.
We would add a little side comment that we're still going to be held accountable to the kids and how they do at the end of the
Right.
year. So I think attendance would still be a priority, but we're not in the legislature.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
So with that,
Mr.
also
Calden,
from last week.
You have a question?
Well, I mean, I don't want to jam up your meeting, but educate me on your previous example where little Missy doesn't feel good and your mom's not making her push through it. I mean, don't we have a truancy? Don't we have a minimum number of absences a kid can have?
We do, and there's another couple of things that are at play there. The legislature over the last 3 or 4 years has really gutted, the teeth in those attendance rules and the things that we can do. There used to be pretty stiff fines that were handed down to families who weren't, regularly sending their kids to school. And the legislature's removed that, and families know it. And so it has contributed to it. We just have fewer things. You've got to use all carrots because they've removed all the sticks.
Gotcha.
And a good number of the real penalties start coming up after you've missed more than 90% of attendance for the year. That's when you start talking principal plan. That's when you start talking about significant making up of credits and advancement committees and things like that. You're talking 90% of the year, that's 18 absences for the school year. So. One more story. Not to give away all of the finance conference, because that'll be for June. So, come back then. We'll have fun going through it. But there was a really startling slide that one of the presenters put up. A couple of years ago, homeschool as a general option for educating your kids was made up about 4% of the students in the state of Texas. Now it's over 12%. And it kind of goes back to what Dr. Hollingsworth was talking about. You got more people at home either choosing to be at home or working from home or whatever the scenario may be, and it's a lot of them are taking that option. I mean, homeschooling as a way of educating your students or your child has about tripled in the last 4 or 5 years, and so that is one thing that's kind of leading to some of the difference in enrollment expectations, but also when those students come back into the public ed system, there may be some remediation work that's going to have to happen or some additional catch-up work depending on where they were in that homeschooling process. But we'll go more into that in June. So ADA projections, this is kind of where we're sitting for next year. Currently building a budget on an ADA of 10,250. That's roughly a 600 student increase in ADA from where we currently are this year. Another way of saying that, it's about 92.7% of the demographer's expected enrollment number for next year. So took the demographer's number times the worst attendance rate I could think of, which was our fall semester, and got pretty close to this 10,250. I think for a district our size, we saw about a 600 student increase from where we ended the previous fiscal year or school year for this year. So I don't think a 600 student increase is out of question. But if we're being really honest, you're not going to see additional funding on those whole 600 because we've already counted some in this year that didn't show up. So we'll get into the overall numbers here in just a minute, and you're going to look at it and go, that seems a little low for a 600 student increase. It is, because some of them were counted already in this year's budget and they didn't show up. So I'm not double counting them with strict money increase going forward. One of the big bellwethers for us are pre-K and kinder roundup. And so we had the event last week. I would like to tell you that I have not looked at kinder enrollment at this point, but pre-K enrollment really is on par with where we currently have enrolled number of pre-K students. So this is really still kind of early for the roundups. We get a lot of students that come in August. We get a few more that come in, Ms. Mott, correct me if I'm wrong, that come in really close to Labor Day. That's kind of the old mantra, is Labor Day is when school starts. So we'll see another influx of pre-K and kinder students around that time. I have no reason to believe that kindergarten roundup was any different than pre-K roundup. I believe it was pretty steady on our campuses. So to me, that's a good bellwether saying that I'm not too far off with my expectation of 600 ADA increase. Based on data, we talked a little bit about transfers in and out last time, but just kind of to recap it, based off the info we have from TEA, we're not seeing a huge increase in students who are transferring out of our district and going to other districts or charter schools. I would throw out there just on my own observation, we don't have data for private schools, but on my own observation, don't see a lot of expansion of private schools in our area. So I would tell you that in my humble opinion, for whatever it's worth, I think our biggest increase would be in that homeschooling option. That any decrease of our expected enrollment is probably an increase in homeschool. That the number of students transferring out to other districts and charters has remained fairly constant. It's anywhere from 1,200 to 1,400 students, but it's been that way for about 5 or 6 years. So it's not, we're not seeing huge spikes from 600 students to 1,400 students in a year. It stays pretty constant, about 12 to 1,400 students. So with additional students, another one of our budget requests is going to be for additional teaching staff. We're looking right now at about 8.5 additional staff positions. I know the half is a little bit weird. We currently have a half-time cosmetology teacher that we're looking to make full-time because of the numbers in that program. So that's where that half is coming in. Or it may be the shared Spanish teachers amongst the junior highs. Anyway, that's where the half is coming in. We're looking to modify 2 existing aide positions into teaching positions to further our choice options. This would be over at Marvin Biomedical Academy, would be taking the library aide and repurposing that into a robotics teacher. And then we're also looking to add an additional staff for, again, instruction of choice to continue the dual language program, not only just at Dunaway and at Wedgeworth, but to move it into junior high as well over at Howard. And so all in, we're still looking at some stipends, but all in, we're currently budgeting about $645,000, and I believe that corresponds with the requested positions on page 92 of your board book.
Mr. Calden, I have a
Yes,
question
ma'am.
about that. So you said we're transitioning the library aide at Marvin. Will they still have a library professional?
Yes, ma'am. So we made the commitment a couple of years ago to go to a full-time librarian with no aide at the elementary campuses.
Right.
We've been doing that through attrition. So as there's a change in the librarian status, I believe we're down to 2-ish, 2, 3. How many shared librarians do we still have at the elementary?
Well, currently, this year, Wildman and Marvin were sharing, Miss Reisner. And then Miss Robinson, the librarian, was being shared between Felty and Simpson. So Miss Reisner is moving over full-time at Marvin. The library aide at Marvin actually did retire.
Okay.
And so we are not replacing that librarian aide. The position that Mr. Calden's talking about up there is actually, they're going to take the computer teacher, which is an aide, and transition that to a robotics certified teacher. That's the transition up there.
Okay.
And then the library positions, once again, at Simpson and Felty, that was Miss Robinson, who retired in January, and we are replacing her with a full-time librarian at both of those campuses, so that will complete that transition that we've been working a couple of years on to get a full-time librarian at each elementary school.
Okay. It just, I was worried that maybe we weren't going to have a full-time librarian at each campus, by
After
the way he
this,
said that.
starting in August, we should have a full-time one at each
That's
campus.
wonderful. Thank
Yes,
you.
it's taken us 3 years, but we finally got there.
Thank you.
That's where I intended to get. Thanks for the assist. I thought we had done it mainly through attrition until the very end, and we were just pulling the Band-Aid off, but thank you. I appreciate
We
that.
pulled it off a little bit.
Yeah, appreciate it. Any other questions at this point? Okay. So a couple more things that came out of the finance conference that we went to. One of significant concern is the teacher attrition rate. So these would be the number of professionals that are leaving the profession. And it's not every year that they have listed, but this was the information that was presented by the presenter at this conference. But you see back in 2007, 2008, it was about 30,000 educators. Now this could be through just straight retirement or a change of career, whatever it may happen to be, but they were a teacher in the state one year and they were not a teacher in the state the next year. And so you see a steady growth from about 30,000 and about 9.5% of the educator workforce in 07-08 to last year about 34,000 educators leaving, and that was about 9.25% of the state. But then you get to this year, and through March, there's already an expectation of about 43,000 teachers leaving the profession, which is a little over 11.5%. And in the conference, we were kind of leveled with the expectation that it should be about 50,000 educators leaving the profession by the time we get to next school year. And so that was an eye-opening number. But then the part that really made it sink in and drove home how much of a crisis this is going to become, just kind of mentally remember the number somewhere between 30 and 50,000. To show you the teacher preparation routes that we've been experiencing recently. So 2015-16, again, these are not every year listed, but for this chart, that's a high water mark of almost 24,000 educators. So we were losing 30,000+, and we are backfilling it with no more than 24,000. And then 21,008, 21,006, those are in 2018, 19, and 19, 20 respectively. But you get to the year 2020, 2021, and you see a significant disparity between the alt-certs, which are now way outpacing those who are earning a college degree. But overall, we're adding less than half of the number of educators that we need for the people who are leaving the profession. And so this is where, when we talk teacher shortage, this is one of the biggest concerns going forward, is we're not bringing enough people into the profession to fill the positions of need that are already out there. One of the comments that was made was all of the universities in the state of Texas are producing less than one math teacher per year for every district. And then all of the universities are producing less than one science teacher per district for every district in the state of Texas. So we used to kind of think, and I'm guilty of it too, because it was eye-opening in this conference for me, but we used to kind of think, hey, you go to college, you get your degree, you get your certificate, and you become a teacher. That's not really the way it's happening in the real world at this point. A lot of them are coming through alt-cert. Another slide that they shared that I did not put in here was that with the alt-cert program, though, the downside to it is they've seen the retention rate after 5 years hover around 60%. So those who go and get their alternative certification, generically speaking, after 5 years, 40% of them have already left the profession. Now, the retention rate was a lot better from the university preparation. I want to tell you, after 5 years, about 85% or so. But we're not producing enough of them through the universities to backfill the numbers that are leaving. So all this to say, you're thinking to yourself, what does this have to do with our budget? And it's a great question, but I'm going to incorporate my friend, Mr. Avenstein, over here to help pass these out. If you don't mind passing these one per person. So this got us looking, and I'm going to stall a little bit until you get your cool color-coded handout. And I do apologize. It is a little bit micro print, but it had to be that way to get the information on the page. So the United Educators Association of Texas puts out a DFW market salary survey of teaching schedules that are online. And what they do is they just take about 49 or 50 districts in the DFW area. Midlothian is the only Ellis County district that is on the chart that the UEA puts out. I keep wanting to say UAE, but it's not the United Arab Emirates. But within that, so what I've done is I've kind of gone in and I've shaded for you quartiles. And then there's a thicker black line right under 25 that is the median, the middle of this chart. And then I put Waxahachie on there because we're not normally on the one that you can find online. I put us in red just to give you a general perspective of where we would be for 21-22 with our salaries. So we would be approximately 39th at starting salary, about 36th in year 5, 33rd in year 10, 28th in year 15, 21st in year 20, 13th in year 25, and 17 in year 30. So what it's telling me is that we're not starting off as competitive in our beginning of profession salaries, but we're a whole lot more competitive towards the back end of our scale. So with that being said, and worried about the number of new people coming into our profession, what we would like to do with our teacher salaries for the year is look to be more competitive at those first couple of years, at those 0, 5s, and 10s. And overall, the goal is to be somewhere between that 23 to 28 spot at every interval. Not really rhyme or reason. That's just kind of a good, somewhere around that median spot, somewhere where we're competitive, we're drawing on good staff who are going to be able to help us in our positions of need, but not necessarily racing out there to be number one at every position, because that's not a sustainable model as we go forward.
You just summed it up really well. And it's about staying competitive, but not overpaying, because we have a lot of needs, as y'all know. There's a lot of needs in a lot of places, and so our philosophy is, hey, if we can get as close to that median as possible, then we are competitive, but we're not overpaying either. And you can see some districts that they've made it their number one thing is they're going to be one of the highest paid. You know, HEB is, you know, they've said, hey, we're going to be one of the highest paid in the Metroplex. And we're not looking to necessarily compete with that. We're looking to stay competitive. And then we think there are other things. We know, research tells us there are other things that cause people to stay and to be satisfied with the work environment. So, you know, exactly. Well, not having to drive is a big part of it. But the other things, too, are cost of living. Do I feel like I'm well supported? You know, that's one of our core values, is honoring and supporting our staff. So,
How many teachers do we actually have 5 to 30 years?
Honestly, I have it on a Excel file in there somewhere that's the bell curve. Our median somewhere around year 9 or year 10. So a majority of our teachers are within the first 11 years, the first 10 years of their teaching experience.
These numbers are cumulative, right? They're not just here. It's if they come from another district, do they get to add those years of service?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So they will bring with them a service record, and it's whatever's listed on that service record is what we count and give them experience for or credit for. On the bottom of the scale, just to point out, starting in years 5 through 30, I didn't just skip Capel, Dallas, and Plano. Ooh, I misspelled Plano apparently in year 20. My apologies. I did not skip them. They do a performance pay method that does not actually give you a static salary or minimum salary at those levels. So that's part of the thing that the UEA found in their survey as well, that those salaries are not predetermined at those levels. So that's why those are blank, just in case you were curious. So with that, the purpose of me telling you this was that the proposal for next year for teacher salary is not a straight increase. It would be more proportionate, which would make some disproportionate increases amongst stuff. So we would be looking to move the starting salary to $54,000. It's currently $52,550. Teachers between steps 0 and 4, so the very beginning of the profession, would see a $1,600 increase from their current salary. Teachers between steps 5 and 10, a $1,300 increase from their current salary. And teachers with 11 or more years of experience would see an $1,100 increase from their current salary. The general purpose was to try to build up those, a little bit more of those years 0 through 10 to be more competitive, because we know that that's one area that we've kind of lagged behind, but not really at the expense of everybody else, making sure that our teachers are going to see a significant increase of at least $1,100 for the next school year.
Real important to point out, too, that this is this year's salaries. So you're looking at our current year's salaries. I've already sent y'all 2 or 3 graphics on text that show you, you know, other districts obviously are going to increase. So this doesn't stay static, but we know the general direction where we need to move.
All right, and then for the rest of our staff, It's not just teachers getting an increase. The proposal would include a 3% pay increase for auxiliary and paraprofessional staff. We're also needing to look into our starting pay for custodians. To be quite honest, $12 an hour in the market of kind of what we're hearing from others really is not going to be competitive. So right now, we're looking at a 3% increase for auxiliary and paras, but we need to look at that starting pay for custodians. We may have to look at doing something different on that one as well. And then a 1.5% increase is currently being proposed for administration. You see the anticipated cost of about $450,000 for auxiliary and paras increase and $154,000 for administrative and professional increases. And then just kind of to recap our tiers again, we talked about returning the high school to a 6 of 8 schedule. So we've made some provisions in the budget for that. We've talked about 2% increase for payroll. What I did not tell you was that on the teacher scale, that increase would be anywhere from 3% to about 1.5 to 1 3/4. I updated it again this morning a little bit, so I don't remember exactly the number, but I know it's more than 1.5. It was 1.5 before I updated the number. So that's kind of where that would fall in there. So pretty close to being able to do a 2% increase for most of our staff. And again, replenished fund balance. I believe we can hit our ADA target that we've thrown out there and built a budget off of, and anything above that, I would like for us to start putting back into fund balance. If we way blow it out of the park, then we may be looking to do some deferred maintenance projects or some other items that may come up, but for the most part, it would be putting it back into fund balance so that we could start building that fund balance up again. Just general idea, we will be below 25% in fund balance of operating expenditures at the end of this year. We kind of knew that was going to be coming, but that hold harmless from TEA is going to minimize how much below that 25% that we're going to be at the end of this year. With that, we do have some money in the budget starting to hit some of those tier 2 priorities. We do have some money in the budget for purchasing of school buses. We do have, I'm asking for $50,000 increase for maintenance and transportation to help offset some of their cost, but that also should help them with an increase for AC, roof replacements, other deferred maintenance projects. And we are still rocking and rolling on our device replenishment and maintenance schedules. So we are currently utilizing budgeted funds and a little bit of ESSER, so that will be stuff as we go forward and our ESSER funds are depleted or the ESSER grants are over, that we will have to make sure that we are lockstep on how we're doing that. But right now we are able to continue doing that, and that's going to be part of the plan for next year. So a rough draft of the budget at this point, very, very round numbers. I'm expecting additional revenue about $2,250,000. This is based off of the 600 student ADA increase, or 93% of the demographer's estimate. We do have $1 million in the budget for this year to purchase some land that is not going to be an expenditure for next year. So overall, I'm looking about $3.25 million of available funds for next year. And I realize that's micro print, but I wanted to be able to put it all on there. So about $900,000 to return to a 6 of 8 schedule. Last year, board, you approved a new salary schedule for administrators, which left some people behind. So we're going through and making adjustments where we need to on that. So I anticipate about $250,000 to finish making those adjustments. Additional funds for athletics, transportation, and maintenance to help with cost increases, plus like athletics with our away meals. We have so many students going on away trips that they need some additional funds to help with those meals. About $530,000 for the teacher pay increase, $100,000, that's kind of my current to go into fund balance, but it's also my, something's going to pop up between now and August and I'm not otherwise planning for it. So that's kind of my contingency fund, if you will, Mr. Rogers, for right now. About $500,000 for auxiliary and paraprofessional pay increases, $160,000 for administrative pay increases, and about $650,000 for new positions. If you're looking through the slides and you go, those aren't the same numbers that you told me previously, no, I've inflated these a little bit because I want to build in a little bit of a safety net, a little bit of a cushion in case My original numbers weren't exactly spot on. So you might have seen 6 of 8, I think it said 890,000 on the slide, and I'm saying 900,000 here. It's just to build in a little bit of an extra safety net as we go through it. So with that, expectations at this point are that our next budget workshop would be at our regular August meeting, probably same bat time, around 4:30 in the afternoon before we get into the real meeting. Before then, you will get the budget books for your review so that at this last budget workshop, it will be a productive meeting. If you have questions about things in the budget book or want to talk about specific allocations, that would be a good time for us to talk about it. Because at this point, we're still not down to specific allocations at this point. So we just got the numbers from the appraisal district for the early estimate. So we're going to keep refining those as we go through the summer, and that will give us a really good idea of where we sit with revenue as well. Any questions at this point?
I have a couple.
Yes, sir.
So by my calculation, there's 4.5 new positions that are being requested that are directly related to CTE.
Okay.
So is that based on an increased enrollment in our CTE programs, just overall enrollment? The reason I'm asking, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Two parts to that answer, yes and yes. So part of it is to go to the 6 and 8, and part of it is...
Hey, turn on your microphone, please, Dr. Everett. Sorry, sir.
Thank you. Part of it is to return to the 6 of 8 schedule, and part of it is of increased enrollment in CTE programs. The cosmetology is the best example. That half position, that we already have that person, and moving that person from a half to a full is to be able to take care of the kids that are in the program and to continue through it. And then the other programs that are just exceptionally popular and people want to be in them.
So with the increased enrollment with CTE also becomes increased funding for CTE.
Yes, sir.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. I know we're state mandated to use 55% of all dollars for CTE directly back to CTE.
Yes, sir.
Do we just do the minimum or do we do more?
Generally speaking, we do the minimum. There are times that they will get more than, but a lot of times it's roughly that 55% that goes back directly into the programs. I will tell you that CTE is a little bit of a different animal because it does have its own ADA calculations that go into it to derive the funding. So a lot of times there will be some makeup with CTE towards the end of the year as we're looking through ADA for the year. What is not a given is that just because we offer another section of CTE that it's not going to rob from Peter to go into that section. So if I'm taking from FFA or ag to go into floral design, I've really not increased my CTE enrollment. Thus, I'm not going to have additional funding at the end. All I've done is made another position with an initial salary that I'm not driving any more funding on. So we do wait on CTE a little bit to make sure that our expectations with the course selections or course requests, that those actually come through, and that I'm not taking from one section to fill a new section that has been created. So that one, their budget will not reflect 55% at the beginning of the year, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. But by the time we start getting through there and seeing, yes, we will drive this amount of ADA, that's when we'll make some adjustments to their budget and add some more funds where needed.
Do you know off the top of your head what we gross in revenue directly for CTE funding?
No, sir. I know it starts with the 6 and has a comma after it, but I don't know the exact number. I know it's 6 million and something.
Okay, and we spend the 55%?
Yes, sir.
So 2.8 or whatever it goes back into the general budget then, ballpark?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All I have.
I got a couple of things. Oh, go ahead, Melissa. I've been talking.
Oh, no, I
already.
just have a comment. Thanks. Budget workshops, great idea. Very helpful.
Go ahead, Mr. Rogers.
I was just going to say, I don't know, there's no easy fix for it, but it seems hypocritical that we're paid on ADA, but yet there's no teeth in our truancy laws. So I don't know if that means getting involved at the state level or, you know, I know that's not something that will happen anytime soon, but we need to start planting that seed. If that's the way they're going to pay us, then we have to have some teeth in our truancy laws
I think
as
that's
well.
exactly what it means. Mr. Rogers, and I would say, I would encourage all of y'all to be involved in terms of letting our state legislators know and moving us toward enrollment. And Mr. Calden stated it beautifully. If you do it by enrollment, we're absolutely still accountable for student attendance because we're always accountable for student performance. And so, you know, as long as you got student performance, we're accountable for attendance.
And number two, I was going to recommend being more conservative on our new student projections, but you can't really do that because you have to account for new teacher positions to account for those new students. So I don't know. I guess that's the trick of your job is to try to guess on how many new students we're going to have and new revenue that we're going to have.
I don't ever really try to hit it on the head because that's a maddening process, but I try not to be super wrong. And so that 688, the demographer's estimate is 988 kids. So I'm in the 60% range in terms of watering it down. So we're not taking full demographic estimate. And that's kind of been the trend as I usually will go 70% or less of whatever the demographer is guessing on expected enrollment increase for the following year. Because I'd rather be in the scenario where we're all having a conversation in December and go, hey, we budgeted on 10,250 and our first semester ADA is 10,350. That's a much better position to be in than I have to stand up here and go, guys, we're at 9,950 and we're going to put all, maintenance projects on hold for the rest of the year. So I try to be conservative with it, but yeah, you're right. It really is a fine line with making sure you have the teachers and the other resources you need to educate the kids when they're here, but not being so far out in front of it that you just have idle hands or half-filled classrooms.
After the kindergarten roundup, do we have any surprises on, like, more expected, less expected?
So on our northern campuses, on the northern side of town, those numbers are always a little bit higher as they come in. It's really hard to tell with Roundup. I mean, Shackelford, when I was there, we'd get, 20 kids at Roundup, and we'd end up with 100 on day one. So it's really not a great predictor. We like to see those numbers come in strong, but on some of our other campuses, they come in really low this time of year, and then they pick up in August. So it's tough to tell much from it.
Any other questions? Ms. Dunn?
I just have one. The $250,000 for adjusting the administration salaries.
Yes, ma'am.
Are those from the survey that was done by TASB?
Yes, ma'am.
Back a few years ago. So that was 2 years ago. So is that,
That was to the numbers that were presented in that survey that eventually became the recommendation for administrative salary scale.
Right.
So what I did, I know is a long-winded answer, but bear with me for about 2 minutes. So what we did is went in and we got a list of every administrator who's on the administrative professional pay scale. And we took years of service and all the fun little characteristics. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and it's about 150 people long, and it goes out to row AP. But we went in and we said, okay, here's min, here's max, here's how much it would be essentially per year if we did it ratably. And we said, okay, instead of having all of our administrators resign and go somewhere else, what if we pretended they resigned and came right back to us? Would we pay them more? If so, we should give them the increase to the scale. If not, we just leave it alone and not go mid-year, go, hey, I'm sorry that we've overpaid you $500 to our scale. That wasn't the case. But if it was the other way around, if it was, hey, according to our scale, if you're at midpoint, I'd be paying you $2,000 more, then we tried to fund as much as we could of that increase, which ended up being about 30% during the course of this school year. So there's still more out there, but to your point, it is not compounded with any increase last year or this year or any of that fun stuff. It's just to get back to that scale that was in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And we will try hard to give the custodians more money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. It's $12 an hour, that's,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We knew kind of when we got the report from TASB, There were some meetings that happened behind the scenes where it was like, I don't know that that's really accurate, because we know the city doesn't pay $12. They pay more than that. So we could easily be losing our custodians just to the city and staying within town. You see signs up and down 77, they could go a whole number of places and be making at least $12 an hour. And we definitely know that with some of our surrounding districts, $12 is not a competitive rate. So we will be looking at that and seeing if we can make some adjustments to it.
Good. Any other questions, Mr. Calder? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, board will convene into closed session according to section 551.001 et sec of the Texas Government Code. It is now 5:15. Reconvene back into open session. At this time, I'll ask Mr. Schofield to lead us in our invocation, followed by Jackson Duke and Kennedy music for our pledges. Schofield?
Shall we pray? Father, thank you for the people here and the constituents here in this district. We pray for guidance, to do what's best for our community, and to help all the kids that we can. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Remember, you gotta be loud, okay? Okay, can you put your hand on your heart? Very good. Okay, you wanna start? Ready? You wanna do it with, you all wanna do it together? Okay, say, I pledge allegiance. Can you say it?
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Great.
Our vision is to be a district where innovation thrives and growth is limitless.
We value choices because they make us unique and are critical to learning.
We value a collaborative culture that honors and supports all who positively impact the lives of our students.
We value an environment of belonging that respects individual differences and ensures equality for all.
We value relationships that broaden learning experiences and enrich our community.
Next item on our agenda is our recognitions. Ms. Bridges, I believe we have several of those tonight.
We do. These kids just keep doing great things. So first, I would like to invite Greg Reed and Rocky Robinson up.
Okay, good evening. We have Rocky Robinson. He is our boys powerlifting coach, and he's got some exciting news to share with you guys tonight.
Okay, again, my name is Coach Robinson. I'm the head boys powerlifting coach here at Waxahachie. We have two of our lifters who had a great season. I want to kind of talk about them just for a second. First is junior Jackson Robinson. Jackson Robinson participated in the 275-pound weight class. He was a 2022 regional qualifier. His biggest achievement is he set the school bench press record at 475 pounds. What is very unique about that number is not only is that a big number by itself, but it is the most weight ever attempted here at Waxahachie by any lifter. So fantastic. Back in March, He was able to also break the regional bench press record of 470 pounds that was set back in 1995. So another really big accomplishment by Jackson Robinson. Not only does he spend a lot of time in the weight room, but he's also one of our multi-sport athletes. He does football, he does off-season, powerlifting workouts. When he comes home, he does his homework, and he also has a job at Logan Steakhouse. So he really dedicates his time to his community, to his school, and to his teammates. Next up is Dax Lott. Dax Lott, he is a senior. Dax lifts in our 165-pound weight class. He was also a 2022 regional qualifier. He set the regional bench press record of 450 pounds. And again, yes, that is 450-pound bench press at weighing 165 pounds. Yes. Dax was also... yeah. Dax was also a 2022 state qualifier, where he also broke the state bench press record and becomes Waxahachie's first state record holder at 460 pounds. Dax is our most recognized powerlifter. He is a 4-year letterman. He is a 3-time state qualifier, and he holds 6 school records ranging from squat, deadlift, and bench press in 3 different weight classes. When I first got Dax as a freshman, he was 132 pounds, and over the years, he's went from 132, 148. In the last 2 years, he's been in the 165s. Dax also sacrifices a lot of time to his training. He also has a job. He works at the shop, a bike shop downtown, where he spends a lot of hours and weekends to make a little extra money. Can't thank him enough for the 4 years that he's been a great teammate, helped mentor young lifters, and has been a great role model for the team. So I'd like to thank him for that. Thank you.
In case you didn't figure out, Jackson, that is Coach Robinson's son, so there's a relationship there. Oh, and last thing, I know there's a lot of vehicles parked, so these guys are going to stick around. If somebody needs them to lift their car out of the way, then they can do that when they...
Board, next I'd like to invite Dr. Philip Morgan, our Fine Arts Director, to come up.
All right, congratulations to our fantastic power lifters. Speaking of heavy lifting, it's been a heck of a spring for our academic UIL competitors here in Waxahachie ISD, and tonight, board members, Dr. Hollingsworth, we are gathering to recognize some fine arts students for Waxahachie ISD. These performing and visual arts students have received local state accomplishments for their UIL academic spring meet, visual arts, theater arts, and music contests. So tonight we're going to honor with some individual recognitions and a couple of teams, some students who you've probably seen on social media as our posts of late have done an exceptional job and finished on the medal stand down in Austin and Round Rock respectively. First, they can't be here with us tonight, and in the most ironic fashion, our theater students are preparing for Mamma Mia, and they can only get on stage tonight because of some awards taking place, but I do believe, I'm not sure if he was able to swing in yet, but Mr. Reynolds was here earlier, and he has a very large state silver plaque. And when I say plaque, it's the giant triangle trophy, because our UIL one-act play, A Monster Calls, finished second out of 249 plays that entered the contest in 6A. And we will formally recognize them at the June board meeting, but I did want to put the pictures up there because, goodness gracious, it's been a heck of a year, and they did a wonderful job. This show, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, and we don't do that just for theatricality. It was a moving play and about family and the loss of loved ones, and it just happened to fall that we performed that on Mother's Day. So we had a lot of folks that came up to our students and thanked them for everything they did. And I want to say thank you right now to those who couldn't be here. Reynolds, Ron Mullican, Paula Myers, and Courtney Daly Cruz for doing a great job. So let's give that second place silver medal show a round of applause. Well, I issued a little challenge to our high school students and our competitors, and they took that challenge to heart in 2021. And so the next group of individuals are our 6A academic state meet competitors for journalism and speech, and we want to recognize those students. This year, Waxahachie High School and WISD set records in the UIL Spring Meet State Contest, sending the entire Indian journalism team to state UIL academic meet. Coaches, if you would, please come forward. I'm going to recognize our state journalism students as well as our state speech student, who is our regional champion in prose. But first, let's welcome up our WHS journalism sponsor, Ms. Chris Anna Mielek. Now, for those who don't know, we have a nickname for Ms. Mielek. Well, we don't, her students do, and they have dubbed themselves Team Mimi this year. And Team Mimi went in as sweet, innocent-looking high school girls, and Owen Bartosh, the boy. They went into what seemed to be a sweet, wonderful thing, and they came out in an absolute catfight. They dominated Conference 6A. I want to introduce those students who are with us. Our regional bronze medalist in news writing, Katie Walker. Our regional champion in prose interpretation, Tatiana Davis. Our regional champion in 6A editorial writing and repeat offender, Maven Navarro. Ms. Navarro was last year's 6A bronze medalist in the same event. And our regional quadruple champion in copy editing, feature writing, headline writing, and news writing, Morgan Linnemond. Now this is probably the most important part, so hear this the most. At the state academic meet, all of our students did an absolute fantastic job supporting one another, from all of the students who had been there before to the newbies. This year, Morgan Linnemond finished in third place in copy editing, which made her just angry enough, finishing with the bronze, to become a double state champion in 6A feature writing and headline writing. Ladies and gentlemen, your double state champion and triple medalist, Morgan Linnemond. I don't know if she was really mad, but she was very motivated that day. I was getting good text messages. With this qualification as a team from regionals and the accumulated 50 points from the state UIL individual results, the Waxahachie ISD journalism team is your 2022 6A UIL state journalism champion team. Let's give them a round of applause. And we're going to get a picture of them really quickly. Go ahead. Where'd he go? Is he still there? Okay, cool. Tell him to hold it. Yeah. Start on the right. Congratulations to our state champions. Yeah, we're going to get Andy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, tell them that.
And we're going to revert back one slide. We're going to bring in our one-act play directors. They are here with the state trophy. Please welcome our directors. Mr. Andy Reynolds, Ms. Paula Myers, and Ms. Courtney De La Cruz. There was a lot of people that were proud of the one-act play competition this year. None more happy, I think, than Miss Harris. She sat there on pins and needles the entire time at the state meet wondering, and what a beautiful job they did this year. For those of you who are data nerds in the room like me, if they finished the state meet on a 2-2-1 ballot, only by one rank to the state champion 1-1-2 ballot. So a very nice job. One more round of applause for our state second place medalist in one-act play. Congratulations. Appropriately enough, we're also going to make a recognition because these students who are taking home state accolades and giant medals do not get that way all by themselves. As a matter of fact, they start in our elementary UIL programs. This year in elementary UIL A+ division for Waxahachie ISD, the team from Felty Elementary School captured the first place academic title, besting all district campuses in their respective UIL events. Campus leadership and the UIL coordinator, please come forward to be recognized as the district champion. UIL academic campus coordinator, Ms. Brittany Casey. Felty assistant principal, Ms. Ashley Gabbard, and Felty principal, Mrs. Brittany Griffith. Let's give the district champs a round of applause. Mrs. Griffith, Mrs. Gabbard, and Mrs. Casey and their team will be awarded with a district champion banner that will include all the coaches, students, and administrator and sponsor names, which will be delivered to Felty here at the end of the year award ceremony. Congratulations, Felty. Congratulations. This year, WHS Visual Art Program qualified 5 individual students for the state VASE event in San Marcos, Texas. Under the direction of their art instructors, the students have achieved the pinnacle of visual arts qualification. Art teachers, please come forward and be recognized, and we will call the names of your students. These students are out tonight, but I did want to announce that our state qualifiers are Brisa Martinez, Leah Racer, Meredith Hallett, and Elena Rojas. They're under the direction of Ms. Camille Blankenbeckler and our representative for tonight from WHS, our illustrious, what did you say this year? It's not weird, it's organic? Is that what it is? It's not wonky, it's organic. We had 5 state qualifiers in 3D art, and a lot of those are under the direction of Miss Mary German. Let's give the art students a round of applause. I think we entered so much visual art in 3D this year, we have to get the kiln serviced. So, thank you, Ms. German.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, you bet. And finally, I have the pleasure of announcing a board resolution recognizing our varsity, non-varsity, and sub-non-varsity bands. They achieved a sweepstakes award this year. At all 3 levels, and here to join us for recognition of Waxahachie High School band directors, please join Mr. Reggie Cook. Let's give Mr. Cook a big round of applause. All 3 bands under the direction of Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Bell, Mr. Cook, and Mr. Cummings earned first division ratings in concert and sight reading, extending the total to probably a list that we'd have to go back in history to find the last time they didn't get a first division. But a wonderful job. Congratulations, band. Thank you, brother. Thank you, trustees and Superintendent Hollingsworth, for your support and recognition of our outstanding fine arts students. We hope we continue to make you proud, and thank you so much.
All right, board, next I'd like to invite our CTE director, Ashley Treat, up.
Good evening, board. Dr. Hollingsworth. It is my privilege to recognize the hard work and dedication of the students and teachers participating in career and technical student organizations. These young people represent Waxahachie ISD across the state in competitions and conventions. With the direction and inspiration of their teachers, their peers, and of course their parents, these young people represent Waxahachie ISD well. Our CTE students work hard through the school year, and tonight it is my honor to recognize some of our outstanding young leaders. First, our Skills USA team is led by Mr. Michael Smiley. He leads our construction trades teamwork student teams And the construction trades team placed first in district and third at state. This team includes Noe Cabrera, Angel de la Hoya Gonzalez, Anthony Mejia, and Alexis Zavala. Miss Mary Beth Cox and Miss Valerie Edwards lead our cosmetology programs, in which we earn blue ribbons on every project submitted. This includes a blue ribbon for flat nail art with Sanaa Wheeler and fantasy job exhibit from Avery Garcia. Thank you. And Mr. Allen leads our Skills USA chapter for Global High School, and this is their first year to compete. Claude Miles earned second place in the state competition in electronics technology. And that includes our Skills USA. See, and I did it again. Thank you, guys. Since our last board meeting, FFA students have competed in additional state competitions. We would like to recognize those students tonight. Ms. Jeanette Middleton and Mr. Brooks Humphrey lead the land judging and poultry judging teams. The Waxahachie FFA land judging team qualified for state, and this team includes McKenna Van Huss, Tice McKee, Isaac Garling, and Kaylee Potter. Additionally, our poultry judging state qualifiers include Hannah Rendon, Gracie Van Treese, Macy Morton, Lexi Aguiano, and Audrey Hammock. Mrs. Shyla Vire, Mr. James Parker, and Mrs. Leanne Kelly lead the Waxahachie High School TSA teams. This year, the on-demand video team placed 5th in the state competition and has qualified for nationals. This team includes Emma Nash, Isaac Major, Nikki Holmberg, and Draval Rengrej. The TSA chapter team placed 5th in the state competition and has also qualified for nationals. This team includes Philosophy Smith, Caden Vire, Nikki Holmberg, Ethan Holmberg, William Linhart, and Caleb Linsenbart. In individual events, Garrison Escobar placed 1st in written exam, Ethan Holmberg placed 2nd in graphic solutions and manufacturing, Caleb Linsenbart placed 3rd in manufacturing wood turning pin, Philosophy Smith placed 5th in manufacturing wood turning pin, and Gabriel Crockett and Carlos Ortiz placed 10th in coding. Additionally, Nikki was awarded a $1,500 Texas TSA scholarship this year. Good job. You're good, you can go. Thank you, guys. The Law and Public Services teachers, Mr. Joe Herrera, Mr. Darren Ray, and Mrs. Kristen Grace lead our students in the Texas Public Safety Association CTSO. This year, Emily Jones placed 3rd in state in fingerprinting. Joseph Seth Harrison placed 4th in closing statements and 6th in opening statements. And Seth was also offered an internship on the spot with a local judge. Callie Buchanan, Jordan Ingram, and Saida Kalada earned 6th in state in blood spatter. And Jordan Ingram also earned 9th in state in traffic stop. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Health science teachers Morgan Burnett and Laura Beth Osbrooks lead our HOSA team at Global High School. Emily Spielman and Alexis Trojan earned second place at the state competition and qualified for internationals in CPR and first aid. At the state competition, Alexis was also awarded a $2,500 HOSA scholarship. And last but certainly not least, our Texas Association of Future Educator students. Ms. Cynthia Foreman and Ms. Amber Huckabee lead the Taffy team at Waxahachie High School. 2 of our Taffy students have qualified for the national competition. McKenna Stone has qualified in Children's Literature and Visualize Project, and Kyrie Richmond has qualified in Educators Rising and Visualize Project. We'd just like to thank the board for supporting CTE and all of our WISD CTE students. Thank you.
All right, board, now I'd like to invite Northside Elementary Principal Stephanie Foster to come up.
Well, good evening, board, Dr. Hollingsworth, cabinet. When it came time to think about who I was going to bring to stand in front of you tonight, it was an easy decision to bring to y'all my fabulous first grade team. You see, all of these ladies are wonderful individually, but together, these ladies are such a dynamic force. A force that does amazing things and focuses every decision based on what is best for kids. When I think of the team that I would want as a teacher, this is the team that I think of. If you are a first grader at Northside Elementary, you are experiencing the best educational experience. These are teachers that truly believe in making the weather in their classrooms, and they are ladies that simply love kids. When professional learning communities came to the forefront of our district, this team was my first team to pick it up and truly run with it. The way that they work together and collaborate, you would think that they would have been a team for 10 plus years. I could honestly go on, but it is with great honor that I introduce to you my Northside first grade team, Courtney Sutton, Jerica Mills, Micah Lee, and Jennifer DeLeon. Thing. I'm trying to run. Okay, can I give them a second? I'll delete. Yeah, where's the baby? Okay, now I get to highlight my wonderful campus. So for the past 4 weeks, or not the past 4 weeks, for 4 weeks at a point in our year, our campus competed in a friendly core value challenge. Each week we focused on a core value as a campus. Parents, students, and staff were all taught the core value, the meaning behind it, and then we did a focus on it every morning on announcements. Each week, students and staff were challenged to put the core value into action. Students were encouraged to memorize the core value and got to sign the poster once they did. After the 4 weeks were up, our families, students, and staff were more knowledgeable about what we stand for as a district and what aspirations lie ahead of us. So I'm going to show you guys just a tiny snippet of what we did during that 4 weeks.
That broadened learning experiences and enriched our community.
Did you memorize that?
Yes.
Oh, so good. All right, and so right here, the next 2 slides are going to cover some ways in which we got out into the community and then ways that we brought the community into Northside. And so in the first picture, that first grade team that was just here took their students to Chapman Park to do a little cleanup. In the middle picture, we held a breakfast with buddies for our students and families, but we also invited members from the community to join our students that may not have anybody that was able to come. And so Josh Oliver was integral in that. And then our community member, Mr. Hastings, his wife previously worked here, Julie Hastings, they came into the school to do a lesson on fossils for our 5th grade students. And then here you have community member William Turner, the president of Baylor Scott and White Hospital, who came to visit and talk to our students about grit and hard work and the importance of collaboration. In the middle picture, community member Jeannie Smiles, creator of the Next Generation STEM Education Garden, came to teach students about decomposers. The neat thing about this program is that it's an intergenerational program, so it provides learning but also relational opportunities for seniors in our community to work with our students. And they learned all kinds of good facts about worms and making habitats. And then they got to go out into the community surrounding Northside, and they put all of these flower seeds into mailboxes so that our neighbors could join in on the fun. And then 1st grade did a canned food drive, and then they took the little field trip to the local pantry right there behind Taco Casa and delivered their food.
They make us unique and are critical to learning. We value choices because they...
All right, and so then on this slide, you're going to see just 2 examples of our younger students having the opportunity to choose which stations that they went to for the week and what order they went into. And so teachers all over the building incorporated something like this in their classroom to show how we value choices. And then this is something, just a selection from our upper grades. So they used a first then menu and different choice boards with the novel study. It's for students to be able to highlight their knowledge.
We value a collaborative culture that honors and supports all who positively impact the lives of our students.
And did you memorize all 4 core values? I'm pretty sure you did. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Good job, Ethan. All right, and so the next core value that we worked on was collaboration. So in the picture all the way to the left, students were able to choose a project that they wanted to collaborate on in order to make a better use of a wheelchair. They had a whole design process. They worked together to collaborate and prepare their project. And then at the culmination of this project, several community members, including Ms. Timmerman, joined the class as they brought their design to life. And then our librarian in the middle picture has been hosting makerspace stations that connect with literature that can be found in the library. And then to the right, a class from Northside collaborated with another grade level in order to just do some read alouds and different stuff like that. You can find it all over the building. In the first picture to the left, our third graders worked with a partner to create a business that sold a product. And then over the month-long period, they were paid by teachers for certain things like behavior, clean areas, completing work. And at the end of the project, they sold their product and bought products from other students using their Apple dollars that they had earned. And then they were also in charge of keeping track of their income and expenses and did all of this through the market days. And then the next two pictures are our staff collaboration breakfast. Miss Brown, Miss Wilson, and I, along with parent volunteers, covered morning duties and provided breakfast for all staff to allow them to come together in the library just to have time to spend together and collaborate over life in the upcoming months. It's just rare that a staff gets to all come together in one place and enjoy each other's company. And so that was the focus, was just time to collaborate. This I'm really excited about, and this is partly from funds that Ryan helped me with. Our maintenance department built the Lego wall on the very back wall and then built the bar. And so this is a blank space that was not used on our campus, and we've turned it into a collaboration space. It's just in the beginning stages, but they have put in the Lego wall and the bar, and then they've also we have also submitted an Education Foundation grant in hopes of stocking this area full of items that will help with collaboration amongst our students. And our last one, belonging.
We value an environment of belonging that respects individual differences and ensures equality for all.
And in the belonging, we really came to consensus as a campus that belonging is a lot about the way you feel. And so it was a little bit trickier to put it into action because it's the way that we make each other feel on a daily basis. But here are a couple of things that we did. This is a culmination of the wheelchair project that I talked about earlier. But their goals for this project were to allow more equitable access for kids. So we felt like that really blended well with belonging. And then on the far right, our PE coach had Camp Gladiator come out and work with our students on the importance of belonging to a team and having a group that cheers you on and pushes you to do your best. And to finish out the week of belonging, our counselor, Miss Wilson, read our campus a story about how small acts of kindness can help children feel like they belong. And we are Northside.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Next, I'd like to invite Greg Reed to come back up.
Okay, back for a couple more. Esta tarde es un placer de introducir Amador y Dorotea Manzano. Por favor. It's a pleasure to introduce Amador and Dorotea Manzano. Bienvenidos. ¿Sí? Mis amigos vienen cada día y cuidan el estadio de Lumpkins. Ellos limpian todo, cuidan las plantas bonitas y hablan español conmigo. My two friends take care of Lumpkin Stadium area and our offices each day. They keep our facility clean, keep our plants beautiful and alive, and tolerate me speaking Spanish with them every day. Creo que Dorotea es la jefe, pero a Amador le gustan los chistes, ¿sí? Amador y Dorotea son inteligentes y trabajadores, son amables y dedicados, y también celebraron 15 años de servicios con Waxahachie ISD el jueves pasado. It seems that Dorotea is the boss, but Amador likes the jokes. But both are very smart, hardworking, kind, and dedicated. They also just celebrated 15 years with WISD last Thursday at the Service Awards. Amador, Dorotea, gracias por su servicio. Les queremos elogiar por su pasión y servicio dedicado a Waxahachie ISD. Amador y Dorotea, we thank you for your service, and we want to honor you both tonight for your passion and dedication to Waxahachie ISD. Okay, this one's in English. I'd like to recognize tonight Coach Greg Gober. Coach Gober became the head boys basketball coach for the Waxahachie Indians in 2018 and concluded his career in Waxahachie this past season. On Friday, February 15th, Coach Gober and the Indians beat the DeSoto Eagles in a very close and exciting game. With that win, Coach Gober earned his 500th career victory. Coach Gober is not with us tonight, but we still honor him for his milestone of 500 career victories, and we thank him for his dedication to the Running Indians basketball program the last 5 years.
Thank you, Coach Reed. Finally, this evening, board, I'd like to invite Stacy Johnson, our Director of Professional Learning, to come up.
Good evening. This evening, I have the pleasure of recognizing teachers who participated in the Impact cohort this year. Impact exists to develop the instructional leadership capacity of WISD teacher leaders through coaching, mentoring, and professional learning experiences. Impact is designed for teachers who plan to remain in the classroom and serve their campus in leadership roles, teachers who aspire to be an instructional coach or curriculum coordinator. Teachers met twice a month after school for professional learning and completed assignments and activities in between sessions for a total of at least 20 hours of professional learning. They designed and presented sessions for teachers at iNation and completed a book study on reflective practices. Impact members also used video to record themselves teaching, reflected on their practices, and then worked with peers to become even better. They've exemplified our core value of collaboration, and I'm pleased to recognize them tonight. And so our members are Amy Cooper, Amy Reeves, Jerica Mills, Perry Colas, Kishmi Davis, Kelly Ruiz, Amelia Ligon, Melissa Harwell, Brittany Hardwick, Melissa Hawkins, Madison Hernandez, Amberly Walker, Katie Pope, Kelly Parker, Mary Beth Cox, Whitney Trevino, Chandria Edwards, Leslie Moon, Tanya Jones, Amanda Grimmer, and Melissa Rabinskis. And I'm very proud of y'all. You got a lunch? You know where you are.
Thank you so much, Board and Dr. Hollingsworth.
Next item is item number 5, item number 6, open forum. I don't believe we have anyone signed up to speak tonight. We'll move into item number 7, reports. Item A, superintendent's report. Dr. Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I do each month, I want to bring you our monthly enrollment and average daily attendance. You can see that our average daily attendance is actually trending in the right direction, and that's through a lot of hard work from our principals and our front office staffs and our teachers of maintaining those contacts with families and staying connected with them. You can see we're at 94.81%, almost 95. We certainly would like to be around 96, but we're trending in the right direction, and that's a good thing. Unusually, we're at 10,181 students to end the month of April, which means we actually went up from March to April. That is an unusual trend, but not in Waxahachie. All we have to do is drive around and we can see why that's happening. But we are trending upward in terms of our enrollment. I wanted to let you know that this month we presented to the Waxahachie area realtors and builders. This was a presentation that was given at the Ellis County, Waxahachie and Ellis County Appraisal District. I'm sorry, let me start over. At the Waxahachie Chamber of Commerce and it was in conjunction with the City of Waxahachie and the Ellis County Appraisal District. At that particular presentation, I shared with them our growth through our demographics, talked to them about the many academic and extracurricular successes that we see on a regular basis, as we just saw here tonight. We talked about our vision and our core values that we have put into place and articulated, and I shared with them the work of our long-range planning committee and where we're headed here in the next several months as we define a 10-plus year plan for dealing with our growth in our district. And then lastly tonight, I wanted to share with you the work that we have planned next year for our district leadership team. One of the things that Dr. Averett and Mrs. Mott have been leading with our principals is the development of classroom look-fors, a consistent set of things that we would want to see instructionally in any classroom, regardless of whether you're talking about kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. And so we started in February of this year. We asked our principals to identify what we should see in classrooms versus what we should not see in classrooms. And then all of our principals replicated a similar process on campuses. And then we developed a draft set of look-fors, and some of the things that have come out of that are things such as student choice. We'd like to see student collaboration. So many of you remember when we were in school, you went into any classroom and you would see straight rows and kids not talking to one another. That's not what we look for in today's classroom. And then obviously we look for a positive classroom environment. So we're continuing to refine those look-fors, and then as we roll into next year, you'll be able to see those look-fors in action in our classrooms. And the other thing that we're really planning to work on with our campus leaders and even our central office staff is really improving our coaching practices. Old school, the boss tells you what to do. But all the research that we know about leadership tells us that that's not really the best way to lead. The best way to lead is to help our professionals discover what are the best solutions on their own. Because the majority of the time, our professionals know best practice. They just need some help getting there. And then the last thing I wanted to do tonight is I wanted to recognize a new doctor in the house. Dr. Beneker, as of Friday, finished the Cooperative Superintendent's Program at the University of Texas. I will tell you that CSP, as it is known among superintendents throughout the state, is hands down the most prestigious doctoral program in the state of Texas. And to be admitted is a big deal. To walk the stage, which he'll do very soon, but he has defended his dissertation successfully, and we want to congratulate the newest doctor in our district, Dr. Dustin Beneker. And you can see he had on his committee, he had one Dr. David Averett who let him, he let him through, so it was good.
Okay, item B, informational report on principal residency grant program for the district. Dr. Beneker. Ms. Johnson.
You like the sound of that?
I do, yeah, it sounds nice.
Well, good evening again. The Principal Residency Grant is a competitive grant that we were awarded by TEA. The purpose of this grant is to invest in WISD's administrative leadership pipeline by providing a year-long residency for teachers who seek to become campus administrators. Participants complete coursework through UT Tyler while simultaneously serving as a campus resident administrator. Though residents engage in all aspects of the principalship during their residency, the focus of this year-long commitment is developing strong instructional leadership skills while under the mentorship of an experienced campus principal. We have now completed the interview process and 6 candidates have been selected for placement. If you'll come up when I call your name, I'd appreciate it. Jane Medrano will be at Coleman. Amberly Walker will be at Findlay. Tanya Jones at Clift Elementary. Yulia Cedeno at Wedgeworth. Eric McCarty at Waxahachie High School. And Claudia Davis at Wildman. They have a lot of work ahead of them, and we look forward to hearing the great things that you all will do this year. So yay for you.
I'd like to invite Ms. Solis and Dr. Cavazos to come up and talk with us real quick about Howard Junior High. Oh, I'm sorry. That's yours. Oh, stole your job.
He's a doctor, now he wants to take everybody's job. He may not be able to fit out the door. No, okay, no, we're just teasing. Dr. Hollingsworth, Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to be here in front of you tonight. Dr. Cavazos and I are excited to announce that we will be offering a new choice for our dual language students. We are extending the dual language program into Howard Junior High. We will start with 6th grade and then add 7th and 8th in the following years. It's exciting. It's something that a lot of people have been wanting, and so it's just another choice, and we're excited for this choice. Let me go to the next one. What you're going to see before you right now are the TEA requirements, and I show you this because it's important as we plan for the next couple of years. To have a dual language program in the junior high or in secondary, 2 courses have to be in the partner language, which is Spanish. 1 Spanish language course, which would be Spanish language arts, and another content area in Spanish as well. The students also have to have 1 English language course and specific teacher certification. That's the last column. The last column there is important because Ms. James and I are going to be working diligently and trying to recruit these are unicorns, okay, friends? These are unicorns. Specific certifications in this area is that, the teachers have to be content and grade level certified. They have to have a bilingual certification for Spanish classes, not just a LOT or language other than English certification. They have to be bilingually certified. And the English class has to have an ESL teacher or a bilingual teacher in that area. We are happy to share that we do have a plan for the 22-23 school year for 6th grade, and Dr. Cavazos will now share that plan with you.
So the schedule of a typical 6th grade student at Howard consists of the 4 core classes, which would be your ELAR, your math, your social studies, and your science. Then they have PE or pre-athletics, an advisory period, a discovery period, and then an elective of their choice. There are numerous electives that the students may choose from. We have band, choir, musical theater, regular theater, art, and other CTE courses. Since we are single blocking ELAR this next school year, will allow us to offer our 6th grade students a discovery class. So for students who are not successful on STAR, discovery will serve as a time to get the 30 hours of accelerated instruction that's required for House Bill 4545. For those students who are successful on STAR, discovery will consist of creative writing, career exploration, and other creative learning activities. So the schedule for our dual language 6th grade students will look much like the schedule for our typical 6th grade student. The main difference will be that our dual language students will not have a discovery class. So in place of a discovery class, our dual language students will take SLAR, which would be Spanish language, arts, and reading. Our students will still attend their regular ELAR class since they will be taking the ELAR STAR test in English. But they will also attend SLAR classes to fulfill part of the TA requirement for the dual language immersion model. The SLAR class will be taught in Spanish. In addition to SLAR, dual language immersion students are required to have a second class in a partner language. As Ms. Solis said, that partner language is going to be Spanish. So to fulfill this requirement, we'll be teaching 6th grade math in Spanish for our dual language students. I know this sounds pretty daunting, but we had the opportunity to visit some dual language programs in another district last week. And we're very encouraged to see the 6th grade students that are being taught in a classroom that was 100% in Spanish. So it is 6th grade students, 100% Spanish. In that class, there were native and non-native speakers. And I believe that the students that we have in Waxahachie are just as capable, if not more capable, of handling that same load. So when our dual language program expands to 7th and 8th grade, our students will continue to receive math instruction in Spanish, but they'll no longer take an SLAR class. In place of the SLAR class, our students will take Spanish 2 or Spanish 3. And our goal is to teach Spanish 2 and Spanish 3 at the junior high level to prepare students to take higher and upper level Spanish at the high school level, with the ultimate goal being that our students will take and pass that AP Spanish exam for college credit. So at Howard, we remind our students every day that they should be Howard Brave. For the new dual language parents that are not familiar with Howard, being Howard Brave means that you believe in yourself, you radiate kindness, you accept responsibility, you visualize success, and you embrace your community. So the dual language program will have an opportunity for Howard to live out this motto. We'll show our dual language students that we believe in them. We'll show kindness to new members of the Howard family. As a campus, we will accept the responsibility of teaching in a new, exciting, yet very challenging way. We've already visualized the success of this program, but we'll share that vision with new families and will help students achieve success. And then finally, we will embrace the new members of our community by respecting the culture and heritage of our students. We're so excited that Dr. Hollingsworth, Dr. Averitt, Dr. Beneker, and Mrs. Solis chose Howard as the school that will offer the dual language program. One of WISD's core values is choice, and we at Howard fully agree with offering choices to our students, and we believe that offering the dual language on our campus is a tremendous opportunity for students and staff alike. So again, thank you for your time and the opportunity to present tonight.
We're excited about the transportation hubs that we're also going to be offering this next school year for our 3 choice campuses. So Wildman, Marvin Biomedical Academy, and Howard Junior High for the dual language program. So we don't want transportation to be a barrier for our students that want to attend these programs. This information was sent out to the parents when they applied for the application on the lottery process. So as long as the parents can get their children to one of these hub locations, the students will be transported to the school and back to the hubs in the afternoon for the students to be taken home from there. So an update on Marvin Biomedical Academy. We came to you last month and the month before. Ms. Polk was going to come for a 3-peat, but she opted to send me instead. I'll see if I can do this program justice like she did. So just to remind you, it'll serve pre-K through 5th grade students and will act as a Zone Plus campus. The purpose of Marvin Biomedical Academy is to engage students in STEM with a biomedical and science focus. They'll research and study the structure and behaviors of living organisms and stimulate the curiosity about the wonders of science. So all K through 5 teachers on this campus will be complete with their NCST certification by May 25th. The pre-K teachers have begun their training as well. We had 100 applicants for 1st through 5th grade lottery, and 33 students were accepted for kindergarten. The families that applied for the 1st through 5th grade lottery will be notified after May 9th. Also, since our last meeting, Marvin Biomedical Academy is partnering with Baylor Scott & White, so we're really excited about that partnership. They came to our big community kickoff, had a great table out front, really engaged the students and parents that came, or the students and families that came, and we're just really excited about that partnership with them. Thank you.
I have a question. How many of the 100 applicants will be accepted?
I'm sorry?
How many of the 100 applicants will be accepted? Do we know?
I'm going to defer to Ms. Mott on that one.
Okay. So we are looking at current staffing right now and current availability of space at Marvin. Unbelievably, we are going to be talking about space at Marvin. So we'll add as we can, like 5th grade, we only have 1 section of 5th grade this year. So we could take a lot of 5th grade students. It just depends on the grade level. We're trying to add 1 section of kids at each grade level. So 22 per grade level at least. That's the goal.
Thank you very much.
I can tell you too, Mr. President, one of the things that we noticed, I was walking the school last week, and Ms. Polk was telling me that the applications that we've received in 1st through 5th are reflective of what we saw in kindergarten, where we're seeing families who've applied from all over the district, so families who are zoned for all of our other elementary schools. So that was really encouraging.
Okay, moving on to item 8, our consent agenda. We have items A through I. I'm sorry, did I have one? Did I miss one? Oh, I'm sorry, I did. I'm sorry. Informational review for the annual investment report. I'm sorry, Mr. Collin. I've been looking forward to this all week.
I'll try not to take that personally.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I guess at this point I could say good evening. It was good afternoon previously. Board, it's that time of year that we, in compliance with Texas Government Code Chapter 2256, we do our annual investment report. We review our investment performance for the year, and we also review our policy and strategies. Included in Your packet tonight is a printout of CDA local and legal. Those are the policies surrounding our investments. A quick recap of our strategies, our investment strategies, and this is enumerated in statute in the order of significance: preservation of safety of principal, liquidity, marketability of investments, diversification, and then yield. The state has made it painfully obvious that yield is not our primary concern with investments. And in the year that we've been in, the environment we've been in with rates at near zero, we see that yield was not of major significance in your investment report. I will tell you this, that we did lag behind the 91-day T-bill average. A lot of that came from this spring, where the Fed started raising the borrowing rate. And as they did that, the pools that we are generally invested in lagged a little bit behind. They are making great gains in catching up with the rates as set by the Fed, but we are running a little bit behind the 91-day T-bill average. General reason behind that, though, is the marketability of securities that we would be buying as that rate keeps getting increased. That marketability would be decreasing. Not that we would necessarily be taking a loss on principal, but holding a T-bill with a 0.25 return when the Fed just raised it 0.5% last week really would not do us a whole lot of good. So all that to say, we are preserving the safety of our principal. We're not really investing in a whole lot of things that are subject to market risk. Most of it is within our depository contract at the bank and or in portfolios or pools. We do diversify our investments within the pools. They don't put them all in one pool and one fund. And then yield is, yes, it's there. It's really, really small, but it is a little bit lagging behind the 91-day average. There are no suggested changes to our investment policy. We'll bring that back in June once you've had a chance to look at our annual performance and the policies and ask for approval at that time.
Questions for Mr. Colvin? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, now moving on to item 8, consent agenda. We have items A through I. Is one that you would like to remove for individual discussion, or we can take them all in one motion?
I'd like to move to approve consent agenda items A through I.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Starnader, a second by Mr. Rogers. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay. Number 9, action item A, consideration action to approve the recommendation of the district's School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, to continue the usage of choosing the best as the district's curriculum addressing human sexuality pursuant to section 28.004 E11 of the Education Code. Robbins.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Hollingsworth. During the 87th regular and special session of the Texas Legislature, new requirements were adopted requiring each school district to utilize its School Health Advisory Council to recommend curriculum material addressing human sexuality and the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and sex trafficking. The WISD SHAC committee reviewed the district's current human sexuality curriculum, which is Choosing the Best, and the SHAC voted to recommend to the board to keep Choosing the Best for the 22-23 school year. We have them split into 2 different action items. Okay.
Any questions for action item A? Robinson? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item A.
So moved.
By Mr. McCutcheon, second by Mr. Schofield. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carries 7-0. Okay, action item B. Consideration and action to approve the recommendation of the district's School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, to select and adopt curriculum materials from the Monique Blair Foundation to address the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and human trafficking for the upcoming 2022-23 school year pursuant to Section 37.0831 of the Texas Education Code.
Okay. The SHAC also reviewed 4 curriculums and had 2 Zoom presentations, one from the Monique Burr Foundation and one from Love 1460, Not a Number, to address the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and sex trafficking. And after review, the SHAC voted to recommend to the board to adopt Monique Burr Foundation as the district's curriculum to address human sexuality and the prevention of child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and sex trafficking. Leslie Dean, the executive director for the Ellis County Children's Advocacy Center, is here. The Advocacy Center is partnering with WISD to help. They helped us research the programs, and they will be working with our counseling team to have advocates from their office present this information to our students using the Monique Burr Foundation curriculum free of charge to the district.
I want to just say a couple of things. Thank you so much, Ginger, for your work, and I know Nurse Bousquet and many others worked on kind of developing both of these proposals for tonight. And I'd point out to the board and to our audience, the first one that y'all just accepted, the Choosing the Best, we've had a sexuality, that's the same curriculum we've had. It's an abstinence-based curriculum that we've used for quite some time. But this is a new requirement, and so we've not adopted one specifically for child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and human trafficking. So we're really pleased to be able to bring this online for our kids. Very grateful to you, Leslie, and to the Children's Advocacy Center for partnering with us on that. It's a really big deal, so just want to say thank you for that.
I'm going to entertain a motion to approve action item B as presented. By Ms. Timmerman.
Second.
Second by Ms. Kriegel. Any other discussion?
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
The SHAC, do we still have community members and parents? And I think that's important for the audience to know that you get community involvement on that committee.
We do. Our SHAC committee, to take a vote for anything that we present, it has to actually, the majority has to be community or parents. It can't be WISD staff. So we still have a very large SHAC committee that participates. Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Item C, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution to dedicate a 15-foot sanitary sewer easement to the city of Waxahachie on approximately .1042 acres of the district-owned land located at 265 Broadhead Road, where Howard Junior High School is located, and to specifically authorize the board president to execute the related easement.
Thank you, Mr. President and board. Next to Howard Junior High is a new landowner building a professional building, taking away what was an unimproved thicket on about the 5 acres or so on Broadhead Road, immediately adjacent to Howard. It's a much needed improvement. It's really good for the campus that thicket is going away and being replaced by a professional building. To facilitate the development, they need sewer easement. The city is actually the entity that would be the owner of the easement. This is very similar to when the subdivision was built near Finley Junior High. A tie-in was necessary for that subdivision to connect to the sewer line. So just 1/10 of an acre. It will be underground. It will be under the driveway at Howard. Unlikely to even be noticed by Howard Junior High. We urge approval tonight of the easement to facilitate the development of the property adjacent to Howard.
Questions for Mr. Robinson? Okay. I will entertain to approve action item D as presented. I'm sorry, action item C as presented. Who was that? I can hear you. Motion by Mr. Schofield.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rogers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Now
you.
action item D. consideration and possible approval for the priorities and performance objectives of Waxahachie ISD balanced scorecard as presented.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President and Board. I'm pleased to bring to you tonight for your consideration the balanced scorecard. As y'all know, we began work on this particular item in November of 2021. Lots of meetings between our principals, our CNI leadership, and our cabinet, and we're bringing it to you as we had planned this month for approval. What this does is it really narrows the focus of our entire organization to have 4 main priorities. And we'll center all of the work that we do in Waxahachie ISD around these 4 priorities. First priority being student growth. The second being honoring and supporting our staff. The third being community and stakeholder relationships. And the final being financial integrity. All 4 of these really are born out of ultimately our vision and our core values. And so that's where all of this started, but we were able to identify these priorities from that. Y'all have seen big campus improvement plans in the past, and we'll still have to, by law, we'll still have to approve district improvement plan and campus improvement plans, but we will build those around these priorities and these performance objectives that you see right here. But the main academic goal for our district that we're proposing is that every student grows academically every year in Waxahachie ISD. So it's easy to remember, but not easy to do. But it's really, really good when we have a lot of focus as an organization. The second one is that all students understand the expected standards of behavior in the district and feels that their safety and well-being are a priority. The next is college, career, and military readiness, increasing those numbers year over year. And then finally, to annually increase our student enrichment and involvement in extracurricular activities. All of those are the main things that we should be doing every day on every campus throughout our district. The second one, our second priority on honoring and supporting staff, directly relates back to one of our core values, but we want to honor our staff contributions and achievements, and we'll do that in a variety of ways. Annually increase faculty and staff satisfaction. We do that by surveying our staff and listening to our staff. Promoting a collaborative culture, which you've heard a lot about, developing a professional learning community, and investing in staff growth through our professional learning and specialized training. Performance objectives related to community and stakeholder relationships are to annually increase satisfaction and engagement of students and families, and annually increase satisfaction and engagement of community and stakeholders. Again, you do that by asking, how are we doing on a regular basis? But each of these priorities, we're going to bring back to you on a regular basis to report back on our progress. And then finally, financial integrity, the performance objectives that we're asking you to approve tonight, ensure financial stewardship and transparency, develop and deploy a coherent facility management process to address student growth, and finally, to ensure effective and efficient operations with transparency. So these are those 4 priorities, and these are the performance objectives. The strategies and the way that we measure those strategies, those may change, and those are administrative decisions. But the priorities and the performance objectives we bring to you for your consideration and approval tonight.
Any questions for Dr. Hollingsworth? Okay. I entertain a motion to approve action item D as presented. By Ms. Timmerman. Second by Ms. Kriegel. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carries 7-0. Item 10 be a motion to adjourn. By Mr. McCutcheon. Second by Mr. Darnader. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Carries 7-0.
All right.
Very much.
Thank y'all.